Hello, welcome back to the Cars.co.za YouTube channel. My name's Ciro De Siena and you join me on the inside of a brand new Lexus RX500h F Sport. And if you've had a burning desire to learn many things about the new Lexus SUV, well, you've come to the right place. But before we get started, remember that Cars.co.za is not only the best place to find your next car, it's also the best place to sell your current car. So head over to Cars.co.za or our app, hit the sell car button, tell us a bit about your car. All of our dealers will bid on your car. You take the highest bid, sell your car, get into your next one. Right, here we go. A thorough review of the new Lexus RX. Dream, search, drive. Cars.co.za. Now this is the 5th generation of the RX. Only 3 generations, however, have been sold in South Africa. And the previous one was a car that I really liked and which no one seemed to buy because I don't think I've actually seen any on the roads. I don't remember seeing any. And I think that's a great pity because Lexus makes fantastic vehicles. They make fantastic SUVs. I think they're better built than most of their competition with a higher quality of material throughout the cabin. They've got clever hybrid drivetrains as well. But in South Africa, I just don't think that the brand has the appeal of some of its competitors. And that is a massive pity because I think many South Africans who are shopping in this segment are missing out. And the good news is that this new Lexus RX is nothing different. They haven't messed with the formula. In fact, they've only improved things. And again, this car continues to impress. And having driven many of its rivals, I think this car is better built and better put together with better materials than just about anything else you can buy in this segment. It's right up there with the Porsche, which I think is a fantastic car as well. But to me, this blows all the other competition out of the water. And one of the reasons why I think this is such a good option on the market is the pricing. And we'll get to that in just a second, but let's look at the new Lexus RX range because there are a couple of models to choose from. So the entry-level RX is the RX350 that comes in at under 1.5 million rand. In the RX350, you get a naturally aspirated 2.5 litre motor, which I'm not gonna lie is probably a little bit underpowered, and I'm not sure I can hugely recommend that car, unless of course you do not care anything about performance, you just want to get it into an RX at the lowest price possible. You then get the RX450. Now this will arrive in November this year. I'm recording this in October 2023, and that's quite an interesting proposition because that is a plug-in hybrid. Now those I think are great. They're such great powertrains because you can run the car on full electricity, you can charge it at home, and when you need it, you've got the petrol motor and the petrol tank as backup. Now, we don't have a price for that just yet, so let's concentrate on this, the RX500h F Sport. Now, F Sport is sort of similar to AMG line or S line in the Audis or BMW's M Sport line, so it just sort of adds a bit of visual appeal to the exterior of the car. You get nice big wheels as well. The drivetrain in here is quite smart. It's what we call a closed loop hybrid, which means it's a self-charging hybrid. You never have to plug it in. Now, the key difference between driving a plug-in hybrid and a self-charging hybrid is that with a plug-in, it will take you all the way up to highway speeds on full electric, and you'll be able to do about 65 k's on a charge. And that sort of distance covers most people's commutes, which means you don't have to use a drop of petrol, say if you're just running to the shops and back. The self-charging hybrid, on the other hand, will run in full electric mode as much as it can. It will default to full electric mode, but if you give it a little bit too much throttle, if the speed reaches about 60 k's an hour, then the petrol will kick in. And then you get a combination of electric power and petrol power, which in this car gives you quite a whack of power and torque. So 273 kilowatts, 460 newton meters from a 2.4 liter turbo petrol hybrid system, which for me is plenty power and torque. I don't think that you'll ever really get bored of the outputs of this engine, or this drivetrain rather. So what's this RX like to drive? Well, Lexus is big on one thing, and that is comfort. You're never going to see a news story about a Lexus trying to break a lap record around the Nürburgring. Lexus does not care about the Nürburgring. It's all about being comfortable out here in the real world. And for a vehicle that doesn't have air suspension, this is probably one of the most comfortable cars you can buy right now. It just does everything well, and it's not wobbly. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall over in the corners. It doesn't feel like you go around corners on your door handles. It does have a bit of firmness to it, and I suppose that's why it's got the F Sport name, but it definitely leans way towards comfortable and a high ride quality. This is the sort of car where you could do a very long distance and probably end up feeling refreshed at the end of it. And that feeling of comfort extends into the cabin, where you've got lovely soft materials everywhere. Very, very comfortable seat indeed. It's nice and softly padded, probably one of the better seats I've experienced in a while. They're also heated and ventilated, which is great for summer and winter. And then we come to fuel consumption. Now, Lexus claims that this hybrid system will return an average consumption of 6.5 liters to the 100. Now, we haven't seen that sort of average. In fact, at the moment, I'm averaging 10.1, and that's quite a bit better than the last time I drove this car, which it was doing about 12. So I'm not sure you're going to get into the sixes with this car. Maybe if you drive very, very conservatively, but it's probably not one of the most efficient hybrids that I've ever come across. Welcome to the interior of the RX500h, and immediately you'll notice that I'm miles away from the steering wheel, but this is a comfort access feature. When you switch off the car, it makes it easier to get in and out of the vehicle. The steering wheel tucks away and the seat goes back. As soon as you hit the power button, everything moves back into place. Now, the car is technically ready to go. The drivetrain is on and you can move forwards and backwards, but because it's completely silent, they then put a big green ready sign on the dashboard, and that tells you that you can start driving. Now, this is one of the biggest screens I've ever seen in a car, maybe the side of a Tesla, and it represents one of Lexus's best user interfaces that I've seen in a long time. Lexus, one of their weaknesses has always been the infotainment, and I always have this joke that they come up with the interface at the end of your Christmas office party. I think they have a good time, and then they're like, right, let's put a weird mouse in the car, let's put a trackpad, let's put a strange jog wheel thing. Now you just have a touchscreen with huge buttons, and it makes it really easy to use while you're on the move. Look how massive that is. I would like FM, please. Or I would like to use my cell phone. Huge buttons, so it makes it really, really easy to use. So that is a massive improvement. You then get 4 USB ports and a wireless charging pad and a 12-volt socket. That's all here for you to use. 2 drinks holders, a fairly quirky gear lever. They had to keep something quirky. So for reverse, you go across and up, and you can hear it working. For drive, you go across and down, and there is your park. Electric handbrake, snow mode over there, and then quite a clever double hinged center bin. So you got a button there, and then it opens that way, and a button here, and it opens this way. Very cool. Heated and ventilated seats as standard, 10 airbags, and a 21 speaker Mark Levinson sound system, which sounds fantastic. And then there are just lovely touches all over the place. You've got this Alcantara on both the doors. That feels beautiful. The headlining feels great. My friend said he would like to have it lining his bed. Actually, that's how good it feels. Massive sunroof with an electric blind as well. And then a really nice touch, the car has 3-zone climate control, one in the back, the left of the car, and the driver's seat, so no one has to argue about how cold it is. Imagine they had that in offices. That would be great. There'd be no fights about the temperature of the air conditioning. I think Lexus has solved everyone's problems. Right, the back seats. Right into the back row of seats, and wow, these are well appointed. You've got heated and ventilated seats back here, your own climate control, 2 USB ports, very cool drinks holders in the center armrest over there. You've got your third safety belt, very, very nice. And then you don't unfortunately have the best headroom in the world. And one of the reasons for that is the battery for the hybrid system is under the seat so that it doesn't impede any of the space in your boot. So that's not ideal, but you do have very good knee room. And what adds to the spaciousness or the spacey feeling of the cabin is that the panoramic roof comes right all the way to the back here. You then have privacy blinds, which is a nice touch. And then this car has very quirky door handles. It wouldn't be a Lexus if it didn't have some quirks. So you just sort of push on there and it's an electric release. However, by law, you have to have a mechanical release on the door. So you have to pull it like that twice to access the mechanical release. Of course, in the case of an accident, if you lose power, you need to be able to get out of the vehicle. But that takes some getting used to, and it's confused a lot of my friends. Interesting. Right, onto the boot, and that is quite a decent sized suitcase, and as you can see, it fits very easily in here. I mean, look how much extra length you have and height you have to the parcel shelf, and even so, you still get a decent skinny space saver wheel in there. And even though this car is all-wheel drive, so it'll have a diff on the back axle, you don't lose that much height in the boot, which is very, very nice. Now, these seats do fold in a 60-40 split, but they're not manual. They're actually far away. They're difficult to reach. So there are 2 buttons in the boot and 1 on each side of the car to lower the seats electrically. Which does take some time. However, it now creates a massive load area, almost the size of a double bed. You could go camping in this car. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, unless of course you just used the bookmarks and skipped ahead. Let's chat about the pricing, because I think that this Lexus is actually a relative bargain in the market. Now, I think one of the reasons why Lexus does get overlooked is because there's just so much choice in the segment. You've got Porsche, Mercedes, BMW, Audi, Range Rover, Land Rover. There's just so much to choose from. Jaguar as well. So to look at a Lexus, you have to walk past all those brands and eventually come to look at the RX. But I would like to make a case for the fact that you should move the Lexus up your shopping list. So let's look at some pricing. You can get into an RX for under 1.5 million, but this one, the top of the range RX500h F Sport, is just over 1.7 million rand. Now let's look at the X5s. The cheapest X5 is 1.7 million rand. The cheapest Mercedes GLE is 2 million rand. That's all 300,000 rand more than this. But now where you do get very good value is from the Audis in the form of the Q8, which is a vehicle I really like. I like the Q8 a lot, and that has very similar pricing to this. However, you don't get a hybrid Q8. It's a much more simple and traditional drivetrain. So for 1.7 million here, you are getting everything I've talked about, everything I've mentioned is included in the price. These cars are fully spec'd. 10 airbags, adaptive cruise control, the works, this beautiful interior, it all comes fully spec'd in the price of this car. And that for me makes it an even more interesting proposition. But for me here, you're getting something quite special. Not only does it look like nothing else on the road, but it drives extremely well, and it has a fantastic cabin, way better than some of its rivals. I mean, for instance, Mercedes interiors at the moment leave a lot to be desired. And finally, let's look at the backup you get with your Lexus RX. Now, the maintenance plan is sort of a warranty and a service plan all rolled up into one, and it is a nice length in terms of years. It's 7 years, which is significantly longer than many of its rivals, mostly 5 years with the Germans, and in the case of Toyota and Volkswagen, for instance, 3 years. So 7 years is a really nice length for your backup. However, on the kilometer side of your backup, it only goes to 105,000 kilometers and includes 7 services. So 7 years, 105,000 kilometers, pretty sure you're going to hit that kilometer mark before you hit the 7-year mark. I feel like they could just knock that up a bit. 150,000 sounds like the right number to me. But of course, if you don't do that much mileage, then you are looking at 7 years worth of service plan and warranty, which I find pretty impressive. So there we go. That is the Lexus RX500 for you. It's a vehicle that I've really come to like. I've always liked it, and this latest one makes the mark better than ever. It's a car which I think you should definitely move up your shopping list if you're shopping for a premium SUV. Unfortunately, when we were doing the initial judging for our Cars Award semi-finalists, the RX had not been launched yet. It was launched just after we did the judging. So it's not included in this year's Cars.co.za Consumer Awards, unfortunately. But I think if it was, it would be a very deserving finalist. Thanks very much for watching. I have been Ciro De Siena. I'll probably continue to be Ciro De Siena for at least the foreseeable future. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, we'd love to have you on board. We have over 700 videos on the channel right now for you to go and choose from. Right, be safe out there. I will see you on the next one. Toodaloo. Cars.co.za. Are you busy trying to decide between 2 cars, 3 cars, 4 cars, 5 cars, 6 cars? We have an excellent compare tool on our site which will help you make sense of all the different pricing and all the different specs. You'll find it on our main site as well as in our app. It's super slick, it's easy to use, it's highly detailed, it's constantly updated with the latest information and pricing, and I can guarantee you it'll make your life a ton easier. Check it out on our website, link in the description below.
God. All our silos and archies deserve insurance that pays out.